We can do an intro. Still.
I mean, like on the phone when I'm like, "Hey, what's up, y'all? We're in the studio. This episode coming this week." Blah blah blah.
I got you. We're live now, though.
All right,
Awesome sauce.
here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Divided Podcast. Once again, this is Divided Podcast on Chicagoland Sports Radio. I am Grant Leader. I'm joined by my two fabulous co-hosts, Tony Tilo Lopez and Brandon Combs. I mentioned the Tony Tilo Lopez because he was Googling himself today, Brandon, and he was sending it into one of our group chats about how famous he is online and through the multi-web. So that's why I mentioned that.
I wish I could tell you that I was surprised that he was Googling himself, but there's no shock. There's no surprise. I mean, nobody puts out more content than Tony, and especially when he's in the office dancing. He just thinks he's Tilo. That's
Brandon,
just how I explain it.
I'm him, bro.
All right, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not.
I'm not gonna tell you what him I'm thinking of, but yeah, you're him.
All right, guys, this is Divided Podcast, episode number 3 of 2026, and we are joined once again. I am Grant Leader, joined with Tilo and Brandon Combs. Man, we got a lot to talk about. We got the NFC and AFC title games to talk about. We talk about Derrick Rose returning to the UC to get his jersey retired. We got more NFL news going coaching hire route. My team, the Baltimore Ravens, hired a stud of a defensive mind to man the team. We also got things we're going to talk about as the WBC is underway. Tilo's got a lot to get off his chest with that. And then we'll wrap things up with Jonathan Tays returning to the UC. A lot of legends returned to the UC this past week. So that is what we got on tap today. Tilo, as always, where can they find us?
That's right. Look us up. We are all over the place now. Of course, Facebook, look up the Divided Podcast. We're there. On Instagram, we are on Divide Pod. The word is Divide Pod. On X, Divided Podcast number 2. Again, the X Divided Podcast number 2. And of course, finally, Spotify. Find us there. Look up the Divided Podcast. We are there. Our weekly episodes are there from all of our seasons, and you should check it out because we're entertaining and we're smart sports heads, right?
Yeah, that's debatable.
Yeah.
Brandon was like,
I mean, me and Grant are all right. Me and Grant know what we're talking about.
Northsiders, man.
I like that.
Just stop.
We'll get into some baseball. Don't worry. We'll get into some baseball. It'll really ramp up once we get into April and May and stuff like that. You'll be dreading doing this show in that time frame.
No, I love it. I love the smoke, man. I've been surrounded by Cub fans all my life. Do you think I can't handle you guys? Please.
He loves it so much that he shows up 15 minutes late to each show. 30 minutes today, but
30 minutes today.
Yep, 30 minutes today.
It's funny because Grant, what did I tell you before Tilo came in? What did I say? I was expecting to start. What time?
Yeah, he was expecting us to start at 2:30, which we really did, even though we said 2:00. So we should really set it up to be like, let's start at 1:30.
Yeah.
So that Tilo can get ready by 2:15.
Yeah.
To do the show at that time.
Yeah.
We'll just tell him noon start, and then we can go at 2 on time.
Yeah, maybe we might have to do that. I love how you're not denying it too. You're
I'm not. I can't deny that. Actually, I'm almost proud of it. It sounded kind of weird, but I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding.
Wait,
dude.
is there a difference between you call it Puerto Rican time, but is there a difference between Cuban time or Dominican time?
It's Hispanic time, man. Every culture, every nationality says, "Oh man, Cuban time is the worst. Mexican time is the worst. Puerto Rican." We all say the same thing, but we're all late, bro. We just can't be on time. We can't.
I actually think it's just a Tilo thing.
Maybe. I'm not really sure. I was going to say something, but
Grant doesn't know what to say.
No, because if I say something, I might hear about it later. So,
yeah.
Oh.
That's got to be careful, bro.
I have to be
careful
like that,
huh?
A little bit. I have to be careful about it.
You don't want the problems.
Definitely don't want any problems.
No te preocupes que él no va a hacer nada, ¿ok? El que está escuchando, el que está viendo, no va a hacer nada. Se está portando bien.
I have no clue what you just said.
I didn't either. I know what I was going to ask. How do you feel about Bad Bunny winning Album of the Year?
I mean, for the amount of streams and the amount of impact that he had globally,
yeah,
he deserves it.
First Hispanic album to win Album of the Year for Grammy.
I mean, it's so stupid that stupid as in good. It's in Spanish, and literally people were listening to this album that didn't know the language. That's how impactful it was. Even and the weird thing about it is that the album was about the culture of Puerto Rico and the insides of, of politics of the island. It was solely on that, it felt. And dang, it did numbers. I was shocked myself, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what the pull is that Bad Bunny has. But, Bad Bunny's known as a reggaeton / trap artist who just makes party banging music, and he also's not scared, and he likes to just say what he has to say, and people love the transparency of his music and himself. This album was just politics in Puerto Rico. Weird, man, but it made a global impact. And now Jay-Z saw it and said, "Let's go. Let's make more controversy and put you."
Jay-Z wants to try to do all sorts of things.
The Super Bowl.
Jay-Z showing up on lists. We don't.
He's showing up on lists.
Man.
I mean, he's trying to get anything going to take the attention off the lists that he's showing on. It's not good lists either.
Yeah,
it's bad lists.
The last thing I'll say, I forget. I totally saw. Like, this is the first time I saw like Taylor Swift and Beyonce not be like won anything in it. That was the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
Less about music, more about sports. Let's get into it. We have the Super Bowl set. Is going to be New England Patriots versus the Seattle Seahawks, a rematch of the 2014 Super Bowl. Let's break down first the NFC title game, because I think we can dissect that a little bit more than a 10-7 victory by the New England Patriots over there in Denver. The game was awesome. I'll just say that. This was one of the best games of the year. I mean, going even back to week 16 when they played in Seattle on that Thursday night game, that was probably the best game of the year. And then this game was probably the best game of the playoffs. I know you Bears fans are going to say Bears and Packers, which is fine, but like, I'm just saying as like a whole, as an NFL fan, I think this was one of the best games, probably the best game of the playoffs. Just the importance it hold and just the way it went back and forth through that. Tons of offense, 31-27. Sam Darnold, 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Stafford, 374, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions as well. No defense was played in this game, and it was that. Tyreek Woolen, he had a 4th down stop, and then he got caught for taunting. And then the next play, Stafford threw a dime to Puka Nacua for a touchdown. Absolutely nuts. Let's dissect this first, because I think this is where the game kind of turned. Like, NFL likes to do their turning points. I think the turning point in this game, Brandon, was that 4th down and goal where McVay didn't choose to take the points, and he decided to try to go for it and was unsuccessful. I'll get your thoughts on that first. Why didn't they take the points, and why did they try to go for it there?
It's the new NFL, man. It's what everybody's doing, and it's costing teams. It cost the Bears. I mean, we saw it against the Rams. Not going for the points early in the game and then losing that game by a field goal. It cost you. And it's costing teams across the NFL. We saw it with the Lions a couple years ago, cost them a trip to the Super Bowl. All sorts of things that you're seeing is just more aggression. Coaches are being way more aggressive than they used to be. It's a new NFL. It's a new pattern. It's a new style. Look, I don't think that you're going to change anything with Sean McVay. I think Sean McVay is going to do what Sean McVay does, and I don't think he's going to be apologetic for it. And I think if he had the same opportunity, he would make the same decision. I don't know that that's necessarily the right thing. I don't know necessarily that that's the thing that I would want my coach to do. But I think that's one of those things in sports where we look at, and we've seen it in Major League Baseball with the change in launch angle and players striking out more and doing all sorts of things. You're going to have to get used to changes within the sport. They're evolving. They're doing new things, and we have to be okay with that. And that's just what we're going to end up seeing.
It made me mad, even though I'm not a fan of the Rams, but it made me mad to see them not take the points. I'm like,
if they take the points, it's a 1-point game. So they essentially still have to go down the field and kick a field goal.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. I get it. I like Brandon was saying, it's a new NFL. It's what they do. It seems like desperation when they do it, but also there's football IQ, right? When you don't have a kicker who can kick over 55 or whatever, right? There's different intricacies to the moment, and you have to manage it well. But man, if there was, and we don't have any analytics on this, but if there was some analytics where we can see, if they would have taken the points this year, just this season, what would have happened? I'm sure without a doubt that the game results would be different.
It reminded me of Packers and Bucks in 2020 when it was 4th down and goal and they decided to kick and trust their defense. The Packers did to stop Brady and the Bucks on offense, and they couldn't. I think that if they decided to kick, it would have been kind of like the same scenario. But at the same time, like, I didn't see the Rams stopping the Seahawks offense in that game because I went over it. Darnold threw for over 340 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, he went off in the game, 10 catches, 150 yards, and a touchdown as well. Like, I didn't have a lot of faith in the Rams secondary, which was kind of weird because the Rams secondary played very well against Caleb Williams and the Bears a week prior to stop the Seahawks because they were going down the field and scoring at will, it seemed like.
It's scary. I don't know if you guys agree with this, but it is kind of scary to see the Seahawks on offense because they can be stopped, but when they score, they seem unstoppable. Like, they got weapons all over the place, and I gotta give credit to Sam Darnold, man.
Yeah.
This guy, 2018, part of that, part of that heavy big Mike Stan. I don't know if you guys heard that. Did you guys hear that?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez. Part of that big draft class, the way he was, struggled in his first 3 years per se, and the rut that he got out of, and then last year the way he performed and almost like comeback quarterback of the year, it felt like, and then this year just the way he's running that offense, I'm mad impressed, man. Sam Darnold has got to be almost. If you guys disagree, let me know. But
no,
top 5 quarterback right now. Top 10 for sure. The way he's playing.
I mean, like he led his team to Super Bowl, yes, but on a talent level, I don't know if Brandon will disagree with me on that. I wouldn't put him up with like Mahomes, Jackson, Allen, Burrow, maybe even Jalen Hurts. Like, I wouldn't put him in that type of talent level pool. Brandon, I don't know.
Talking about Drake May, right?
No, we're talking about Sam Darnold.
Oh, Sam Darnold.
Tilo said that he thinks Darnold is top 5 quarterback
based off performance and where he's at.
I heard that. I thought he said Drake May though. Sam Darnold is playing at a top 10 level right now. I mean, when you start looking at the quarterbacks across the league and what he's doing, I think he's done enough to silence the critics. I think he's done enough to silence the doubters between what he did in Minnesota last year and what he's done in Seattle this year, leading his team to a Super Bowl. And it's not that he led his team to a Super Bowl just because they have a great defense. This offense is pretty damn good too. And he's throwing for a lot of yards. He's not turning the ball over. He's protecting the ball. And when you go into this Super Bowl, it's crazy to say, because if I would have told you this in 2023, you told me I was drunk. But when you look at Sam Darnold going into the Super Bowl against Drake May, I trust him to not turn the ball over more than I trust Drake May to not turn the ball over.
And it's crazy too because he only threw for like 120 yards and 1 touchdown against the Niners, but they didn't have to ask him to do anything. Like, I mean, they gave the ball to Walker and they gave the ball to Charbonnet, but he got hurt in that game. But they gave the ball to Walker 19 times and he rushed for 116 yards and 3 touchdowns. If you're doing that as an offense, keep doing that. Like, there are times I saw Lamar Jackson only throw for like 200 yards and a touchdown, but Derrick Henry had 22 carries for 155 yards and 2 touchdowns. So it's like, and they're winning the game 41-17 or something like that, right? So it's like, it just depends on the game plan, what's working. If the scoreboard says 41-6 at the end of the day, everybody's going to be fine with that.
I think that's the key too, because I think Clint Kubiak going into this game, I know he's going to be the head coach of the Raiders after the game, but he's a smart offensive coach. And he's the type of guy where if you're running the ball and it's working, he's going to stick with it, even if it's against what his game plan was. Because if it's working, he's going to keep going with it. He's going to keep running it. And that's one of the things that we watched Ben Johnson struggle with all season long is they would run the ball down into the red zone, and then all of a sudden he would put the ball in Caleb's hands, which isn't always a bad thing because he's your playmaker. But if you're gashing a team with the run, stick with it.
Yeah.
And a lot of coaches in the NFL nowadays don't do that, but I think that Clint Kubiak is comfortable doing that, and Mike McDonald's comfortable enough to let him do it.
Dude, I mean, even for me as a Ravens fan, going back and looking at Monken and how he play called a lot of the offense, there was times where he would give Derrick Henry the rock 10 times out of the 15 plays. And then there will be stretches where like a whole entire quarter passes and Henry didn't get a ball, or he's not even in the game as like a decoy or anything like that. So like you have to find those offensive geniuses. I'm not calling Kubiak an offensive genius, but I mean, his track record is kind of showing it right now. He helped the Seahawks get to a Super Bowl. So
let me tell you guys this. Not on I guess the players level conversation and the coaches. More so the coach. I'm sorry, with McVay. When McVay had that post presser, he really felt this loss. Like I've never seen him feel a loss in this way. Like he really thought that this team really had all the intangibles to make the Super Bowl and to even win it. And when he talked to the media after the game, he looked hurt. He looked really hurt. Yeah. I've never seen McVay look that hurt in my life.
Yeah, I think losses like that will crush you, right? And it really makes the offseason kind of long, which is it's what you want in your head coach, though. It's what you want in your players. You don't want them to be comfortable losing. You don't want them to be okay after a close loss like that. You want it to hurt for a little while.
Yeah.
That way they do whatever they can to never have that feeling again.
Yep.
And I think that McVay in his press conference was conveying the fact that he felt that he put it on his shoulders. He felt like he didn't make the right play calls at the right times. He didn't put his team in a position to win. And that's what a good leader does. I mean, and McVay's a leader of men. It's just that's what he does. I mean, he'll send Jared Goff off if he starts flirting with his wife, but he's still a leader of men.
Hey.
You going crazy today, bro?
Yeah, you are going crazy today.
It's just the truth.
Speaking of McVay,
let him know.
Speaking of McVay and leader of men, I think the Rams did see that, and they extended him and general manager Les Snead to extensions, so he's not going anywhere. And the thing is that like every time we get into an offseason, everybody's asking the question of like, is Sean McVay returning to football? And he's like one of the youngest coaches in the NFL. And it's like, is Sean McVay retiring? Why? He's one of the best head coaches in the NFL. He's one of the youngest head coaches in the NFL.
Yeah.
And why are we flirting with him being retired every season? So it's just like, that's crazy.
I think a lot of people are expecting him to want out of LA. And to do that, you might have to take the route that you're watching with Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, where he might take a couple of years off or take a year off until his contract is up and then sign wherever he wants to sign. You wouldn't be able to do that with his contract in LA. I think that's where people go with that. I think there's always been a lot of rumors with him not enjoying his time in LA with that ownership group. They don't necessarily see eye to eye, but I mean, the dude just wins, man.
He does win. He does win a lot. Last thing I want to touch on the Rams side of things is everybody talked about Matt Stafford going into 2025 with his back, and if he's going to come back, they had to restructure his contract. There's been reports that have come out to say that they believe the Rams do believe that he is going to return for 2026. I'll ask you guys, do you think, because I think that Stafford will win the MVP this week and he will be named MVP. Do you think that Stafford will be coming back? Because I believe that Stafford will be back for 2026.
Go ahead, B.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, he had the back issue heading into this season, and then he had one of the best seasons we've seen him have in his entire career. Yeah. And to me, Matthew Stafford's the top 5, maybe 10 quarterback of all time. Like, this dude is a dog, and he is a tough quarterback. What do you mean? Ooh,
I'm just saying top 5. That's.
I mean, when you look at the numbers and look at what he's done, even when he was in Detroit. I mean, this is a dude who will go to war with his guys. I mean, I've been a Matthew Stafford guy ever since I watched the video of him separate his shoulder and then go throw a touchdown pass right after separating the shoulder.
Go Pokes, baby.
Yeah, so I I do think that he's one of the better quarterbacks of all time. When you start putting him up against everybody, you start looking at what he's done in that time. And I know he didn't win a lot, but he was also in Detroit. There's a lot of great players that didn't win in Detroit. Detroit killed a lot of careers back in the day. So
Sure did.
I don't know if he comes back. I just don't know if he would want to go out like this.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, do you have any final thoughts, Tilo?
No, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think Stafford comes back too as well. I mean, and not to mention, he can still play.
Yeah.
The guy still plays. He's 35, 36 now. He's still elite. He's still elite. That's crazy to say, but he's still elite.
Led the league in touchdown passes, and he probably will be walking away with the MVP when the award ceremony happens.
The crazy thing too is that when you think of Stafford in Detroit, you forget that he was in Detroit sometimes, and he was still a dog, but he just had a horrible team with him every year. Like he had no help. It felt like, except for Megatron. That's what it seemed like.
I mean, he had good seasons where Reggie Bush and Joique Bell were the running backs in that system, and they were doing pretty well. I mean, Caldwell, when he was with the Lions those seasons, they were doing really well. Golden Tate was there as well.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like, they were only making the playoffs, and they were first round exits, and they weren't getting the most out of that team. So, yeah.
We'll see.
All right. Their opponents are going to be New England Patriots as they play in a winter globe, snowball, just awful conditions, and commentary was even awfuler. Patriots win 10-7. Drake made the only touchdown. He ran it in. Rushed for 65 yards on 10 carries. Passed for only 86 yards in the game. The biggest storyline going into this game was that Bo Nix, we talked about it, he broke his ankle. He was out for the season. Jarrett Stidham had to step up. First game starting since, I think, 2023 when he was with the Raiders. And, I mean, we can talk about this first, the fourth down play that happened. Should Peyton have gone for it? Should he have not? I think he should have gone for it and made it. I just don't agree with that play call. Brandon, I'll throw it to you first about that fourth down play.
Yeah, look, you have to take the points there. And there are times, I know, like we just talked about this being the new NFL.
Oh, Brandon said we have to take the points? Hold on.
You were in a spot where you were with Jarrett Stidham as opposed to your starting quarterback. You're with your backup quarterback, and you have a chance to go up 10-0, knowing that the snow is coming, knowing that your defense is playing lights out. Your defense is playing at an elite level in that game. They're stopping New England, everything they do. You have to go up 10 there.
Yeah.
And when you don't, and then you get stopped, it was just a complete momentum shift. You felt the momentum shift. And then the snow hits in the second half, and nobody can do anything. The offenses were atrocious. We could talk all day about, whether or not teams need to get domes and whether, neutral site championship games.
No.
But if you know that weather's coming, you've got to take all the points you can, because they're going to come at a premium in the second half. And if you don't know that the weather's coming, you need to fire somebody on your staff, because you should know that the weather's coming.
You should. I got so lost in how abysmal that the Broncos looked in the second half in that snow. Like, they're in Denver, and I know New England, it snows there, it gets cold there. It's not like, the Los Angeles Rams are going into Denver, or the Los Angeles Chargers are going into Denver, and or the Miami Dolphins, for example, they're going into Denver not really knowing how to face the snow. But it's like, that's something that your environment, like, you practice in that environment all week. You know the stipulations going into that game, and it was even cold. It wasn't as bad as it was in the AFC title game, but against the Bills, it was pretty much that level cold. But the snow was the disadvantage. But you should know, your environment going into that game. You should know how to prepare yourself for that game. The other thing that the Broncos kind of faced was that quote unquote backwards pass that gave the ball to the Patriots, and that's how they scored that touchdown and kind of put themselves in the position to win that game. That's up for debate, and to me, it didn't look like a backwards pass, but obviously in the situation, Stidham's trying to avoid a sack, and he just tosses it, and it's obviously behind the line of scrimmage. So I know, Brandon, you're looking like you want to say something about that backwards pass, so I'll give it to you first.
Well, it was definitely a backwards pass because it landed back but the
I-
wind
yeah.
took it back. Like it was a
I get
forward
it.
pass that
Yeah.
landed behind him. So I think they have to interpret the rule as to how you handle that in the wind, right? Like if I'm throwing the ball forward, but the wind knocks it back, what am I supposed to do? But at the same time, like the worst part about that entire thing was Tony Romo's call of that entire thing.
Dude, I loved how Tom Brady was just dissecting like almost
Oh my
everything in
God,
that NFC
camera.
title game, and then as soon as Romo goes like, I
Like,
don't know, Jim.
When he asked Steratore after that play, he says, "Gene, what happens if I know the ball went backwards, but what happens if that goes backwards after the defense tips it?" It's an incomplete pass, Tony. That's what it is. What are you talking about?
It's not like Tony's been playing this game for like 20 plus years and stuff like that.
Oh my
calling
God,
it.
he's just so bad, dude. He's
He was
nails on a
good in the
chalkboard
beginning, man. What happened to him?
for a year.
I don't know. I
I think the game surpassed him. I really do. I don't think that he understands like the nuance. Like he was good because he knew the offenses back then. He was fresh out of retirement. He knew what the offenses were doing. This new NFL, these offenses are a lot more complicated, and he can't look and predict the way that he was able to in his first season. And I think that's because the game has evolved, and Romo hasn't done enough homework to evolve with it because he thought he could just rest on his laurels.
I was talking to Tilo about this too. I was like, but you still got guys like Tiki Barber, that are still good color commentators. I mean, I have my, limitations about Chris Collinsworth and the fact that he just wants to glaze over Patrick Mahomes in every possible moment. But he's, he played in the 80s.
Patrick Mahomes.
He played in the 80s and stopped playing in the 90s. And it's just like, he's still very good at his job,
Did you see the NFL prop bet for the Super
I
Bowl?
saw it. How many times he's going to mention Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl? I saw it.
They have a prop
Yeah.
bet. Oh my gosh.
Over 1.5 is minus 250.
It should be just a half because you cannot mention the Chiefs at all in the Super Bowl. It's the Patriots and Seahawks. Where does Patrick Mahomes even begin to evolve into this game? Like,
Well, it's not about the Chiefs. It's about him saying, "Oh, here's a guy." Well, here's a guy.
Here's a guy who plays just like Patrick Mahomes.
I didn't see that one. I saw the one where he mentions Patrick Mahomes on the broadcast.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The Bears Rams game. Didn't he make a mention of it?
Dude, I was watching a Patriots and Ravens game and he mentioned Patrick.
Yes. It's insane.
What?
He's got posters on his ceiling in his
Jordan
bedroom.
Love, he called a Packers game. He's like, Jordan Love threw a touchdown pass. And this is the same stuff we see out of Patrick Mahomes. Dude, we don't even know about this. And then when Brock Purdy threw that touchdown pass to Juice, and then he's just like, and we see the same stuff. I was about to scream Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, and then Tirico got after him. He's like, you're the only guy that would probably think about Patrick Mahomes right now.
I think we have to get to a point where it's good to have former athletes on the mic because it is good to have that perspective. It's good to have that breakdown. But not every athlete, not every former athlete can do it. Not every former athlete can be an analyst on a platform. Guys like Ryan Clark and that idiot Cam Newton and some of these other guys that have microphones, it's like, dude, I have no use for you, and you deliver nothing.
Dan Orlovsky is the one poster child I do for that because he has his favorites, and it's just like, it's fine to have your favorites. But it's like when you have a platform like that and you deliberately will try to sabotage other players because of that, of your favorites, to elevate your favorites up while taking the other people down that don't need to be taken down, or you're giving them unfair criticism, that's when you get a lot of criticism thrown at you, and that you should not be talking about that.
Do you think Tom Brady's in the honeymoon stage of color right now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
because I think we love it. He knows the game like Romo knew the game in that first year. We love his reactions. Oh, you hear him all the time. But do we get tired of that in 2-3 years?
Yeah,
maybe. Who knows?
I mean, could you imagine being a young kid, 14, 15 years old right now, and listening to ESPN and Dan Orlovsky is telling you about quarterback play, and then you look at Dan Orlovsky, and you're like, what? Why is this guy the voice of good quarterback play?
I'm just wondering. I mean, how did he get to ESPN? What did he do?
So
I could tell you what he did.
The stick. You know the stick about how people get their jobs. You got to either have like a great resume where you're winning championships like that, or you have to be famous in some type of other way, like Mark Sanchez. How do you think he got the job working for CBS before he, ultimately what happened this year? It's because of the butt fumble. Everybody knows him because of the butt fumble. Like that is his synonymous play in NFL history.
A bad moment got him the gig.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and if you can,
he was the
running
first guy to
outside.
run in the back of the end zone and be so oblivious to it too.
and if you can speak, there are people that will put you on air without like actually listening to what you say. I've seen it all over the place. I've seen it in radio. I've seen it in TV where guys have a mic just because of their name and because of their following, as opposed to their actual content. And when you get to stuff like this, that's fine for fans who are fans of that player and who people who love that guy and want to follow that guy. But for the rest of us who want actual insights and want actual good content, it's like, who gave this guy a microphone? And why do you still have a job?
Let's do a Super Bowl one year where Tony Romo and Chris Collinsworth are the color guys, and then put in, I don't know, put Mike Tirico in there. That would be the most hilarious broadcast I think ever.
I don't know.
See, Tirico's a legend. And so is Nance. And they get bogged down by these guys.
Right. Like,
But
Nance,
but I
feel
want
like this year Nance really had to carry the broadcast.
of course he
Romo
did.
was just saying like, yeah.
That's a pretty good impression, bro. It's not bad actually.
I mean, it's a pretty good impression when you hear it throughout a 3-hour game at least like 10 times.
Super Bowl, man. Hey, by the way, before we shift over, the patches, y'all see the patches?
Yeah.
I read a meme the other day where it said it looked like a NASCAR related type event with all the patches that they had on their
like the sponsor reads and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that?
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. Real quickly before we move on, I want to talk about Drake May and the Patriots because a lot of people have just been saying how this has been like a easy path for them because Drake May, I believe I had it in. He turned the ball over at least 7 times during this playoffs, and they still made it to the Super Bowl. So I'll throw it to you guys first. I think he played well enough to get his team to win, but like it wasn't like a Joe Flacco throwing 12 touchdowns, no interceptions for a Super Bowl. Like it wasn't that type of level, right? Like it wasn't like knock your socks off, but I think he did good enough to get his team there. But I just the reasons the Patriots aren't in the Super Bowl is not because of Drake May. I think the reason they're in the Super Bowl is because of the defense, how well they played, and the coaching staff, because Vrabel's been doing a terrific job there.
It's his team. Yeah, I think it's the coach. I think it's Vrabel. I think it's what he's done, when it comes to the play call. I also think, Stevenson, Henderson, you got a 1-2 punch at the running back position. You got guys like Diggs, making incredible plays. I'm not saying that Drake May's been saved by them, but he's got some help, and so when you got the Patriots defense, Patriots defense in the regular season and even now, they've been playing their ass off. They've been keeping them in games, and when you keep a quarterback like Drake May in games, you're gonna get some good results.
So he turned the ball over 5 times, 3 against the Texans, 2 against the Broncos, and that's how they got to the Super Bowl that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you turn the ball over 5 times, you're not making Super Bowl. I think that kind of shows how what I said earlier, the defense and the coaching.
Those
staff
turnovers weren't crucial either. You know what I mean?
No, I know they weren't crucial, but like at the same time, you're giving your other team 5 more opportunities to score the ball in crucial points in the game.
And I think that I think you got a guy in Drake May that a lot of people are giving a lot of credit to this year. And rightfully so. 77% of his passes were completed this year. He was great. 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, all of that. But when you look at the New England Patriots schedule and then you realize, man, this guy, who was he playing against? Like you had a stretch at 7 weeks where he played the Panthers, the Saints, the Titans, the Browns, the Falcons, the Buccaneers, the Jets, and the Bengals defenses. And then the Giants after that. Like it's not like he was playing world beater defenses, but I understand that you beat the teams that are in front of you. But when you come to the playoff time now, he's only completing 55% of his passes. And the defenses that he's facing have been a step up. Like, regardless of, not having to score a ton of points to beat Houston because their offense was just garbage. Their defense was really, really good. That that Denver Broncos defense, really, really good. And if it wasn't for the weather, I really do think that Denver wins that game. So I agree that they're not in the Super Bowl solely because of Drake May. I just don't know how to feel about him. I don't know whether or not he's a good quarterback next year, and I don't know we're going to be able to tell that until next year when maybe they're playing a first place schedule.
Yeah, I think that would be different. And I mean, for you guys as Bears fans, you guys were talking. They mentioned the soft schedule for the Bears because they had a 4th place finish last year, and then this year, they had that 4th place schedule playing all those teams, but now they're going to be playing the better teams this year, going into 2026. So we'll see about that. And I just think that I agree with you, Brandon. The weather played a factor, and it could have been different if the Broncos didn't have to face that. But at the same time, you still gotta, like I mentioned, it's your environment. You should know how to play in that environment.
And made plays when he needed to.
Yeah, they did
with his legs.
I sort of mentioned it too in the second half of the Broncos. They just looked awful. Like they couldn't do anything. They tried giving the ball to Harvey McLaughlin and it just did not work out. And then Stidham couldn't throw the ball. So maybe it's different with Bo Nix, maybe it's not, but we'll see. But that is the Super Bowl matchup: Seattle Seahawks versus New England Patriots. Real quickly, you guys, 30 seconds or less before we move on to the World Baseball Classic. Who do you got winning? Because I got the Seahawks winning 31-27.
I'm going with the Patriots, man. I actually think that the Patriots are going to get this done. Look, I started out thinking it was going to be the Seahawks. I thought the Seahawks defense combined with Sam Darnold and this offense were going to be too much. But there's just something about this Patriots team and the way they play for Vrabel, and this defense is really, really good. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think that Drake May is going to make a play with his legs at the end that's going to get them into field goal range to win this game on a late kick. I really do. And I hate to say that because then it goes back to that old poster, right? Like everybody's looking at that poster from September where I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but you get the poster and it's Drake May and Sam Darnold in the front, closest to the Super Bowl stadium. But Drake May looks like he's a little bit closer than Sam Darnold.
Yeah,
I don't want to give those people the credit of being like, oh, say it's scripted, because it's not. I just think that the Patriots find a way. I really do.
They said the same thing about the color. Like there was the Chiefs and Eagles one, and that was the colors, and then there was the Chiefs and Niners. Or no, it was 2021 with the Bengals and Rams, and then the Chiefs and Eagles. And then they were saying, oh, so it's purple and gold, so it's going to be Niners and Ravens, and then it just became Niners and Chiefs. So everybody's going to come up with a script and things like that. But before we move on baseball, what's your prediction?
Yeah, I think 24-21 Patriots. I think they win by a late field goal as well. And I just think that it's going to be a close game. I think we're not going to have points scored until the second half, heavily. And I think the Patriots defense hold just enough for Drake May to make one final game-winning drive, and that's all she wrote. It's going to be a
Tilo agrees with me.
Super Bowl win.
Can I change my pick?
Yeah, go ahead. We can't have agreement on the show.
No,
this is the whole premise of the show.
Yeah, no, not with Brandon.
So I knew I was wrong. Change my bet.
I'll say I think both these defenses are great, and I think that the Seahawks do have the better defense, so that's why I was leaning more Seahawks. And I just want to see Mike McDonald get the Vince Lombardi. That'd be cool to see a former defense coordinator for the Ravens win it, who should have been the head coach after 2023 for the Ravens. But I'll just leave it at that. Really quickly, we're going to move on to baseball now. The World Baseball Classic is coming up soon, and there's been big talking points about who's been joining, who's not been joining, things like that. Both Japan and America, USA look really, really stacked, both their rosters. But the biggest thing has been that Team Puerto Rico is getting decimated by this insurance policy that has been thrown at their players.
Of course.
And we have a Puerto Rican on our show who lives and dies by that team and that flag when it comes down to this tournament. So, Tilo, how are you feeling about this insurance policy kind of just wrecking Team Puerto Rico?
It's completely BS. is complete bullcrap. How is it that you make these or the news of this is a week before all this gets started? You're signing players, people are getting on the roster, and then the insurance companies are starting to bring up issues with this specific team, this specific roster. It's freaking crazy. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm gonna be one right now.
Oh, okay. Get your tinfoil out.
I'm gonna dive into this full. You know what? 10 toes deep. Screw it. I don't care. But I don't know what it is. But when the World Baseball Classic started, the United States did not give a damn about this tournament. No, not the best players were on the roster. They looked at it as a little tournament, and this was really it was really more other countries being more passionate about it, specifically the Hispanic ones, right? That's their sport. That's the sport that they see every day in their countries. And so, later 2013 nothing, 2017 nothing. Then we had COVID. You started to see a little more interest in 2023, right? Where they started to stack the rosters and this was going on. All of a sudden, powerhouses like the Dominican Republic, USA, Japan, Puerto Rico, they're now all stacked. They're all now fighting for the throne, and we have this one coming up now, and it feels like they're doing the Puerto Rico bogus right here. How do you not have the layout, the underwriting for this type of stuff?
I only saw 5 players, like Nolan Arenado, Seth Lugo, like. I always saw like 5 players on that roster that can go forward. You can't even put a full 9.
You can't put a full roster. That's freaking insane. Like what is going on? It is unbelievable that these amount of players are having an issue with an insurance policy, which I know the WBC can't control, right? I know that.
Yeah.
But why?
Well, because when they had it last year, Team Puerto Rico had a moment where Edwin Diaz had to miss the season because he tore his ACL.
Sorry, that was a bad question. I know what I know exactly what the
and Lindor
fear is.
The Lindor has a bad elbow issue that's been plaguing him, and the Mets do not want him to play because if he gets hurt in the tournament, then they will not have him.
But guys,
like, not even mentioning Puerto Rico. Altuve took a fastball right to his thumb last tournament, and he had to miss like at least 2 months of the season because of that.
But this is the insurance company that insures the WBC. This has nothing to do with Major League Baseball. This has nothing to do with any of the teams, any of the owners. This is the WBC. Insurance companies are just this way. I mean, we know this, right? Like you couldn't go get life insurance if you knew you were going to die next week. So they have to look at their. If a team's going to come after them, let's say Lindor goes out there. I mean, his UCL falls off of his arm, and he's got to have surgery, and he's out for a year. Now all of a sudden, the Mets are suing them for his, whatever, $25 million that he's making this year. So they have to protect themselves. My question then begins to be: should the WBC be what it was intended to be, which is amateur ball players representing their country who aren't major league players, maybe minor league players, maybe college players, guys who aren't on Major League Baseball rosters, being able to compete for their country. And look, I love the World Baseball Classic. I love Team USA. I love watching all these guys playing. I think their roster is great. It's going to be a ton of fun to watch. I don't know that I want Pete Crow Armstrong manning center field for the entire World Baseball Classic. If Pete Crow Armstrong tears an ACL running down a ball in the field, I'm going to be pissed. If Alex Bregman, takes a ball off the hand and breaks his hand, he's out for the first 2 months of the season, I'm going to be pissed. So I don't know that I want my guys necessarily playing in this tournament. I would still be just as excited for the World Baseball Classic. But I also understand that not every fan's a sicko about baseball like I am, or like you are, Tilo, or like you are, Grant. Like
this is the good show.
We would watch regardless.
Yeah, we got.
But in order to get people to watch, in order to get people to pay to watch this thing and pay to go to the stadium, you have to have the names in there. So it's kind of a catch-22 for the World Baseball Classic. I just think ultimately what you end up is that you don't have Major League Baseball players in this tournament.
Yeah, and I listen, I think it's totally understandable. Like when Edwin Diaz went out, from a Puerto Rican fan perspective, I was devastated. Like, dang, he's out for the tournament. Now, I'm not a Mets fan, and I know plenty of Mets fans that were like, this is why I didn't want him playing in this damn tournament. You know, so it's totally understandable. And the perspectives are crazy because Puerto Rico, Dominicans, Colombians, Venezuelans, this is Super Bowl. This is Super Bowl right here. Like, when Puerto Rico played the Dominican Republic in 2023, bro, and Grant knows this, like I shut my whole life down. This was Bears Packers, bro. This was Cubs Brewers. I don't know, whatever major rivalry you can think of. This is what it is, and this is like we're brothers, right? The islands are brothers and sisters. So the fan perspective of it is they don't care about the MLB. Those countries, they don't care about the MLB. Yeah. They care about this right here. And on top of that, if you want to add a different narrative to it or a layer to this, the WBC has, I think, helped grown baseball globally. People get excited about this thing. Fans are going, fans are watching. And so I think the WBC is a great thing. I think it loses its essence if you put the minor league players in there and stuff like that. And that's just another perspective. But I know what you're saying, and I think probably what you're saying is the safest thing to do for the MLB. Save your talent. You need it for a long season. It's 6 freaking months long. So it's totally understandable. But the insurance thing is just, I know how insurance works, and I know that how these companies want to make sure that, they have everything intact and nobody is done over. It's just the fact how late this is, how late of an issue this has become. Yeah. We got a week left to, it's crazy. It's just crazy. And now the Puerto Rican president of the Baseball Association for Puerto Rico is starting to pull out. Out the Puerto Rico baseball team. I mean, that'd be crazy. I know Dominicans that told me, I don't want my team in the Classic if y'all not in it. We hate each other, but it wouldn't be a Classic without Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic in it.
I guess the president of Team Puerto Rico is not Philip Rivers, threatening to pull out.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if this would be a different issue if we played this tournament in July. Because in July, these guys are already ramped up. They're already playing. Could you do something like a Four Nations tournament like in hockey, where you do it for the All-Star game instead of doing it preseason, where these guys are still getting into game shape, getting ready for they're already in game shape, but getting their bodies ready for a 162 game grind. Would this be a different thing? Would it look different for the insurance companies too? Because hey, I've already got 4 months of this guy playing. He hasn't torn his elbow yet, so why not? Why couldn't we insure him for 2 weeks to go to this tournament?
That's a good point.
It's a good point too. And backtracking on like the minor league and college players, I'm not sure as an insurance way of thinking things. Yeah, I think that's a little bit easier to work with because you don't have the MLBs just like huffing down your throat about potential lawsuits and stuff like that. But I think the popularity and the interest level and the viewership probably go down at that point too, because you don't have the tournament the way it is now without Adam Jones catching a fly ball at the wall against Manny Machado. You don't have Ichiro Suzuki in Japan going against South Korea in that huge rivalry like that. You don't have
Trout versus Ohtani. Bad of the Classic.
Yeah. Which is funny too, because I was working a show with Brandon yesterday, and he was bringing up the World Baseball Classic, and the two guys we were working with were like, whatever. Yeah. It's like the biggest matchup in the past 10, 15 years. The two greatest ball players in the past 10, 15 years.
They didn't even remember it.
80% of the people in the States don't care about the Classic, bro. They don't. I'm telling you, it's the other countries who really care about this thing.
I know, but like there's serious baseball heads like guys on this show that really care about the World Baseball Classic that are watching every game that their team is playing for. I don't care. Like I'll watch America versus Great Britain. That's what they call themselves instead of England. I'll watch that game full 9 innings. Like I don't care. I'll love every second of it too.
Yeah.
Or the year that the Dutch were playing and they had a crazy run.
Yeah.
Like that was fun to watch.
Yeah.
We destroyed them, by the way. Felt good.
And it's
Sorry.
It's something like this because basketball has
get insurance.
Basketball has the Olympics, whereas that's the biggest tournament where it's like that country pride can be on display and like they can take it. On the Olympic level, baseball is not like that. The Olympics, like this is our Olympics here. Like for baseball fans, this is their Olympics. So this is why it's so important to them.
you've had so many great moments come out of the World Baseball Classic too. I mean, how many times have we seen that video of Yachty throwing down to Javi and Javi pointing back at Yachty as he applies the tag, right? Like how many times have we seen where where we've watched it was God, I forget his name now, Adam Jones rob a guy in center field
catching off of Manny Machado.
Like there's just so many great moments. It's a great tournament. I think it would be better though if it was played in the summer. I really do. I think it would draw more attention if it was played in the summer.
But then how would that mess up like the World Series then? Because the World Series is played in late October, early November. Is MLB going to be okay with pushing it back that far? Because you can get a team like Chicago, New York, possibly even like Seattle that are very.
We're starting a season on March 26th this season.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that I'm thinking, as like a whole, what they would be thinking. Are the owners going to be okay with playing potentially into late November with the World Series? Because they're not going to be playing in Houston or in Miami. Potentially, like that's just up in the air. So like you could be playing a very cold World Series in New York or in Chicago or in Boston, things like that. So I don't know.
Not on the south side of Chicago though.
No, probably not on the south side because they probably won't make it. But
or they would forget about their ball players.
Made them money. Something I want to bring up to you because we're talking about baseball. How come all the Cubs players are showing out for the Bears and stuff like that, and the Bulls and Blackhawks, but you don't see anybody from the South Side showing up for any of these events? They're not supporting anybody.
I don't think
PCA and Caleb are going to Hawks and Bulls games together, and then you got Nico Horner, Tyon, you got Ian Happ, Bregman, all going to Bears games and Blackhawks games and Bulls games, stuff like that, and then White Sox players.
Because nobody knows Chase Mydroth.
And no one knows Colson Montgomery, I guess.
You're asking about young guys who just got to the league. Like these are not all stars.
PCA,
PCA just got to the league.
No, but PCA wasn't all star. Is what I'm trying to say. They're not all stars.
Do with it?
PCA is good, is what you're saying.
I bet you any money, maybe one of them did go, and they didn't spotlight them. You know what I'm saying?
Like nobody knows who they are.
Spotlight yourself. They're not going there because Marquee Sports wants them to go there or NBC wants them to go there. They're going themselves and they're putting themselves out there and showing that, dude.
Or they're just not fans.
And they're not showing the true love to Chicago sports
the
way
care.
that Cubs players
I
are.
don't care.
How about them leaving
White Sox a chip?
Frank
That's
Thomas?
all I care about.
That's not coming.
How about them leaving Frank Thomas off of the Black History Month and stuff?
Dude,
Like that's crazy.
man.
Yeah,
The Chicago White Sox X account put up a Black History Month just what do you call
like
it?
a
memorabilia of like important White Sox Black White Sox players.
Yeah.
They forgot to mention probably the greatest White Sox player of all time, Frank Thomas.
Yeah. Whoever runs that page needs to be fired immediately.
Dude, okay.
That's crazy, bro. Frank Thomas is one of the greatest hitters of all time, bro. Like
he's pissed.
He's pissed, dude.
I would be not happy on that Twitter post.
Yeah, so like the White Sox they put out in celebration of Black History Month, we reflect upon a momentous first for the White Sox organization.
Black History
and then
Month,
they
what the flip?
They brought up like, Larry Doby and stuff like that, and Dick Allen, MVP for the White Sox. And then Frank Thomas comes out and says, I guess the black player who made you rich over there and holds all your records is forgettable. Don't worry, I'm keeping receipts. And then if you click on the account, it's legit the Frank Thomas account. Like
I'm okay with his tweet.
I'm okay
with that tweet, bro.
Too.
Let him know.
I'm okay with
keeping receipts.
Damn,
something's hey.
He still works for CHSN too, right?
Yes.
The home of the White Sox.
Yeah, I think he does. He's not the full season, but I think he has a contract for a couple games.
It's crazy.
Him and Jerry got something's going on. I don't know.
I think that's Jerry. I think that's just the PR staff messing up.
Or somebody. Yeah, it's got to be something like that. How do you forget Frank Thomas, bro?
You don't omit. Yeah. That's not an omission. That's somebody being told, hey,
yes.
we're gonna.
Yes.
I
That's
agree.
something intentional, bro. That's not like, I forgot Frank Thomas.
Yeah.
You don't forget Frank Thomas in the South Side, bro.
There's no way
even
a 20-year-old kid running the page would know this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is something where somebody's like, hey, we're gonna put this out. Here's the names of the players I need you to put on there. And they left off Frank Thomas.
If the Cubs did something like this for Black History Month and they forgot to put Ernie Banks or like Billy Williams on there.
Or Sammy Sosa.
or like Andre Dawson or something like that.
Andre Dawson. Yeah.
Dude. Could you imagine?
The
that?
Cubs would never though.
so mad.
Cubs are a
You
pretty
said-
good organization.
Yeah, that's what a good organization does.
Calm down. Let's not get started.
Dude.
No, I'm kidding. Hey, listen, you're right. You're right. We're not right now. We're not a good organization, but Chris Getz is doing his thing. I know we're not there yet, but
Yes, he's getting a lot of C+ players on that team.
no C+ players doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He's making a path.
Can you create an argument that negative WAR players like Austin Hayes and Jordan Hicks are going to turn around this franchise? Sir Anthony Dominguez.
Sir Anthony Dominguez. It doesn't matter what's coming through. What's happening is he's creating opportunities for the
C+
trade
players.
deadline to happen for us to finally get to where we need to be.
What happened
That's
was
what's going
they saw their minor league team was named the Knights, and they were like, "Oh, we have to have Sir Anthony Dominguez there."
Horrible joke.
I mean,
You
horrible
gotta-
franchise
but
deserves
you gotta
horrible
admit,
jokes.
Is this progress or not?
I
No,
mean, to a certain level, because like if you're
That's
setting,
crazy. Y'all crazy to say this is not progress. After what
You
we've
traded
seen
your
the past
best
4
player.
years in this franchise. Well, yeah, you had to trade him. His value probably would have
3 years
3 years
ago.
ago.
3 years too late, dude.
That's what I'm saying. You guys are proving my point. The past 4 years of this franchise has been absolutely abysmal.
Here we go.
Trash.
See, looking eyes right now.
Yeah, I'm going crazy. I have to, because it's been trash. Now we see what we see moves being made. We traded our best player. At this point we had to. He would have lost value. You guys know it. He's not. I don't think Luis Roberts on this team would have been the Luis Roberts of 2022 or 20, whatever his All-Star season was. That's not ever happening again with him. So you had to make the move. So there's progress. There's progress being made in this offseason for the White Sox. That's the first time I can say that in 4 or 5 years.
All right, before you continue, we're up against the clock for Brandon here. Brandon, any last words before you got to head out, my man?
Just got a breaking news update that the Minnesota Timberwolves are close on finalizing a trade for Giannis.
Oh my God!
No way.
He's gonna go to Minnesota.
Holy cow! We were going to talk about NBA next too, because like I was like, I want to talk about Derrick Rose and all that, but
That's
like,
scary.
what?
What are they giving up?
That's
I gotta
scary.
find out.
You know what? I thought the spot that would have made the team a legit NBA champion talk. The Spurs.
Yeah, Spurs.
Put him with
Put him with
Wemby.
Wemby.
My
That would be
God, that would
disgusting.
be nasty.
That'd be
But,
disgusting.
all right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a good rest of the show, and we will talk to you guys later.
All right, Brandon.
See
Good
you,
luck.
see
Have
you
a
on the
good show.
See you on the show tonight.
Yep. Have a good
Yes,
show
sir.
on BetMGM tonight. We'll be watching, and good luck, my man, and have a good one. And,
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
There'll be a
All right.
quiz since you said you're watching.
Oh, shoot.
And then he goes off.
Yeah, then he goes off. Well, if you guys want to, absolutely go check out Brandon's show, BetMGM Tonight, on the BetMGM network, powered by Westwood One. He's going to be on from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I got to watch because he's going to quiz me now.
Yeah, no, you better.
He's probably going to ask me what guests that I have, something like that. So he's got great guests coming on that show too. Kevin Harlem's going to be on the show.
Nice.
Kevin Harlem's going on the show. He's got, and now that Westwood One has been partnered with BetMGM, it's been a lot of fun being able to have guys like Mike Golick Sr., Jason McCourty, Kevin Harlem go on the show and be able to be guests on there, because it's being able to like widen out just the company itself and the amount of people we're able to bring in attention to. Because you think of Westwood One, you think of the Super Bowl, you think of March Madness, you think of all the big games in the NFL and the NBA and things like that.
Yeah.
You think about that network as that, and then they're bringing in more people that way to this network, which is awesome.
Yeah. No, it's always gonna. The guests are going to be immaculate, I think, when it comes to this. So
That's cool.
it's gonna be dope.
I am seeing the Wolves are actively recruiting third and fourth team in an attempt to improve the trade offer for Giannis Antetokounmpo, which is
Man.
absolutely nuts. We can talk about it real quick.
Yeah, of
Giannis
course.
was he asked for a trade out of Milwaukee. This has been something that's been in speculation for a while now, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh, who's going to think about it? Who's who's going to make that trade? Are the Bucks even going to be willing to make that trade?" It was all speculation for a certain amount of this portion of the season, and then the Bucks lost to the Thunder, and then Giannis said he was hurt. He was going to be out 2 to 4 weeks, and then the next day he comes out, or a couple days later, comes out and says, "I want to trade out of Milwaukee." And this is a guy who has legit been the heart and soul of that team for a good 10 plus years now. Won a championship for Milwaukee, first time since 1970s that he's won it. And now he's the biggest trade option piece in this year's trade deadline. The trade deadline is coming up soon. So a lot of people were saying the Bulls are going to be in it, but we know how this team is run and who runs this team. So even if the odds are going to say plus 290 or something like that for the Bulls to finally do it, we all know who follow the Bulls.
I don't think he helped.
Fans of the Bulls, it wasn't going to happen.
I don't think he helps his team with the roster construction we have right now. It's regardless of who we give up.
The team's not healthy either. Dude.
Yeah,
like Giddey's out, Kobe White's
dude.
in and out of
Yesterday,
the lineup.
or the night before, they had seven guys out.
Saturday, I can't believe they won that game because you had guys like Carter going out for the team and Monas Pizzella stepping up.
Yuki had 20-something minutes.
Yuki was going out.
He was going crazy.
He was winning tip drills, jump balls, and he was getting, players involved and stuff like that, hitting threes. But
yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. Who do you think do you think the Timberwolves, if it happens, where does that put them? Because they're always a team that like hovers around the 6th spot, 7th spot in the standings and stuff like that. And I'm going to check it right now because I believe that's where they're at. They're in the 5th spot right now. And man, the Lakers, oh my gosh, they're fledgling right now, 29-19.
Yeah.
Holy cow. But like, what does that do to them? Because you have Julius Randle, Naz Reid, Rudy Gobert. That they have to be involved in that trade. Somebody has from those names I just mentioned have to be involved in that trade to Milwaukee.
I mean, do you give up a guy like Rudy Gobert who you can think you? Can
I think that's the money making thing for the Bucks to finally pull the trigger on that, because you need a guy to be somebody to bring fans into the stands still. And I know, Rudy Gobert isn't, the biggest money draw there can be, but that's a legit star. Like he's a 4-time defense player of the year.
Yeah. And you're getting size back still, but with some offensive power who can play down low just like he can. And
to a certain extent.
Yeah.
He's not a huge offensive, performer as Giannis is, but like,
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you get Giannis who can play inside offensively. He's obviously way more talented offensively than Gobert. Mm-hmm. He can get up. He's as tall as Gobert, if not just that maybe a tad bit shorter. And then a guy who can also play half court offense very, very well. He can block. He can play defense. So yeah, you add him to that package, however you do it. But what is after that? Yeah, is going to be the key. So. But they'll be dangerous. They'll be the top 4 contender, I think, in the Western Conference if they make that move happen, without a doubt.
Absolutely. You still got teams like the Rockets and the Nuggets who are still playing well. I mean,
the Nuggets, bro, they just keep winning.
Yeah, they keep winning without Jokic,
bro.
But they did take a pretty bad L to the Thunder last night. So I'll see on
the Thunder.
Yeah, it's the Thunder. But like the Thunder have been fledgling. Like they were 6-4 in their last 10 games, and that's another team that's been killed by injuries this year. Like, Isaiah Joe's been hurt, Alex Caruso's been hurt, Jalen Williams, also the other Jalen Williams, so J-Dub and J-Will have both been hurt this year. Isaiah Hartenstein finally came back. He was out for like a month and a half plus. Chet's, in and out sometimes, but he's been a very consistent guy. I'll say this about Chet, man. I think he's the best defensive player in the league this year because dude is killing it.
Nobody's getting a bucket on the run. Yeah,
nobody's getting buckets on him. And I know everybody's gonna say, oh, like Wemby's the best, but like Wemby's been hurt too this year. So like if you're looking at the who's gonna win Defensive Player of the Year, Chet's only missed like 3 games this year, and he's far and away been one of the best in rebounding, shot protection, blocks, defensive rating against players that are driving towards him. I know he's the favorite right now, but I think at this point in the season, we're in February. We're only 2 months away from the season wrapping up. I think Chet's winning the Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Yeah, I think, and on top of that, the Thunder still are that team.
They're the best team in the NBA.
They're the best team. Yeah, they're the best team.
Record wise, I don't know why it's like this, because the Pistons are 36-12 and the Thunder are 39-11. So that's weird. It's only like, I guess the Pistons got to make up some games, but like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and Detroit, man, Cunningham,
dude, Cade.
I'm so impressed by this guy.
I'm so impressed by him too. I'm loving it, and he's a former Oklahoma State guy, so I love that. He's probably I don't want to say he's the best Oklahoma State basketball player to ever go through the program, because he's only one and done guy, and he played during the COVID year. But
who'd be number 1 in front of him?
Probably Marcus Smart, maybe.
Marcus was
It was-
low-key a legend.
Yeah.
He was low-key a legend. Yeah, he had a run.
And also just like his longevity in the NBA. And then he won
Yeah.
Defense Player of the Year a couple years ago too. And it wasn't like he was a young player at that time.
Yeah.
He still isn't, but like still like that's who I would probably lean towards. 'Cause,
Yep.
You know, Tony Allen went to Oklahoma State, but like wasn't like taking over like Cade Cunningham was.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're kind of getting off topic a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to Oklahoma State tunnel here.
Yeah. All right. We'll get something that's near and dear to your heart. Derrick Rose had his jersey retired last week, and that number 1 is going to be hanging in the rafters at the UC for a while. Me personally, we can talk about it. I think as a player, I don't know how much he deserved it because if you look at the numbers, they didn't match up to that. But I understand the meaning and the importance of Derrick Rose to the city of Chicago. And I won't hold you up much longer, but that's all I'll say about that because we can go back and forth on it. But what did that mean to you? Because I know when you worked for CHSN now, Comcast back then.
CSN, yeah. Mhm,
Yep.
back then.
You covered the Bulls during that time when Derrick Rose and the Bulls were at their height. When Derrick Rose was winning MVP, when they were the top in the league in the East, those years. What did that mean to
injuries,
you?
yeah.
Through all his injuries. What did that mean to you seeing him get his moment, getting his jersey retired, and what do you think it meant to the city of Chicago?
I mean, it means everything to the city of Chicago. I mean, the testimonies that you heard, even when they played it during the game, you know, Chicago wanted this, and I think when you have, it takes me back to on a minimal level. Do you remember when Tony Romo played for the Mavericks for a game? He suited up. You remember that?
Yeah, I guess.
And it was a big thing, like, oh my God, he's taking a spot from somebody who really deserves it. You know, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. You know, the city of Dallas wanted that. They wanted to see that, right? It was a moment that they wanted to see because he ingratiated himself with that city.
Yeah.
Even more when you look at Derrick Rose, him being from here, from Inglewood, from the south side of Chicago, a guy who you have to admit, when he jumped on the scene, the Bulls were a playoff team, but barely. When he jumped on the scene, they went to the number 1, number 2 seed, you know, after a year or two.
You should set it more straight. The Bulls sucked.
The Bulls were bad, yeah.
The Bulls sucked before Derrick Rose.
They just were bad, right?
They were bad.
You still in Derrick Rose's rookie season, he still had Ben Gordon, Heinrich, and those boys, and they got to the first round of the playoffs, and also the Celtics in one of the greatest series of all time, 7-game series.
Yeah, it was.
That we remember at that time. But Derrick Rose improved the team, and so from that perspective, you look at a guy who runs the point guard position, making a team better. Then you look at the other side, a guy who is athletic. I don't think we hadn't seen a point guard besides Russell Westbrook,
which was awesome because they played at the same time, so you got to see both of those players do what they did that nobody else could.
Crazy,
it was crazy.
And like Derrick Rose, the way his size, the way he moved, like, it was video game type stuff, man. Like,
Which is really weird too, because like I want to dive deeper into the injury and how that kind of affected his career, but like it's crazy too. Like Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook were kind of like on same trajectories, winning MVPs, having significant knee injuries, but like they still both had like pretty similar careers towards the end, but also like the longevity that Westbrook has showed prior, like the longevity that Westbrook had at the end of his career versus the longevity that Rose showed toward the end of his career are not the same, but at the same time, like how those similarities kind of like coincide with one another.
Yeah, no, and it was that conversation was being had in 2012 and 2011. It was Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook. That was the conversation. Who you want? Who you got? Right? Yep. And both sides would battle on. So it was great to see that at the same time. And you look at Derrick Rose, you know what he did in that time frame when he was healthy. It was nice to see. Yes, he was the MVP that year. In 2011. And yes, maybe he didn't deserve it when it comes to numbers. Maybe you give it to a guy like LeBron that year, right? LeBron had his stupid numbers that year.
Yeah. So I have the stats.
Go ahead.
LeBron had him in points and rebounds, steals, blocks, field goal percentage, and BPM and VORPM. He also was all defense that year versus Derrick Rose, who didn't make all defense that year. So yes, and then also you can throw in maybe even Dwight Howard.
Sure. Dwight was having a year.
He was
Yeah,
having a great year
Orlando.
that year. He won Defensive Player of the Year. He was all defense as well, so that was his leg up against Derrick Rose. But at the same time, like, you look at the Magic and the Bulls in that season. Who's more important to the team? I think Derrick
there you
Rose
go.
was more important.
That's where I was going, and I think with MVP, there's always so many conversations on what makes an MVP besides the numbers, and of course, it's that you take Derrick Rose off that roster. I mean, look at what happened in the year after when he got hurt.
And I guess you can show the same thing with like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. When Lamar was killing him in every single stat known to man that year, they still gave it to Allen.
Yeah.
So
the impact that he made in Chicago, I know he wasn't the greatest. Do I think he's a Hall of Famer? I have questions about that. I can't tell you yes. I have to look deeper into it. But his jersey retirement, is it merited? I think it is. He was one of the most impactful players I think the Bulls have ever had. They loved him. He went global. He was global. Guys that the only guy in the rafters there who went global like he did was Michael, right? And Scotty, because he was part of the team.
Yeah.
But he deserved it. I think he deserved it. And he's the biggest what if player I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, there's definitely a big what if. There's there's Grant Hill, there's Len Bias, and there's definitely Derrick Rose in that discussion. I was very back and forth because early on I was like, Derrick does not deserve this. Like, he's a 17, 3 and 5 guy. Like, why are we putting those types of numbers in, raising them up there? And then it was like, you got Jerry Sloan up there. Number 4 is hanging in the rafters too. He didn't win championships either. And if we're gonna say like Jerry Sloan versus Derrick Rose, obviously Derrick Rose is a better player than that. My thing is, as a player and for the accomplishments and stats and what he kind of did, I don't think he deserved it in that fashion as a player. Just because of, you talk about, he like the injuries happen and stuff like that. Well, he still played 13 plus years in the NBA, and he still was able to still retire at an age where people mostly retire. And I think people don't necessarily look at that. And we battled about this before. I told you, give me the story without mentioning, try to keep him go farther than the 2009-2012 bubble with Derrick Rose, and then try to like put him in the halls of greats. And he's not that. But maturing is realizing that Derrick Rose is in that rafters and his numbers retired because of the emotional weight he carried for the city of Chicago and the cultural impact. And you mentioned it. He was a kid in Inglewood who grew up and he played for the Chicago Bulls. Like, that will never change. And no matter how you try to like put down the player itself, Derrick Rose, and the accomplishments he made, and debating about the weight, about should he be in the Hall of Fame, should his number be retired, you can still debate that. But I think that the reason he's in the rafters is because of those two things: the emotional weight he carries in the city, the connection with the fans that way, and then the cultural impact. I read something on Reddit, and it kind of subverted me on this. I want to read it to you. I think you'll like it.
Okay.
Is Derrick Rose the 2010 version of Allen Iverson in terms of emotional weight and cultural impact? I've been thinking about how Allen Iverson and Derrick Rose have had legacies where they feel bigger than the actual on-court resumes, and how emotionally attached fans and players are to them. They both have one MVP. They both defined a moment in NBA history, and they both connected with fans in a way that goes beyond numbers and accolades. Iverson wasn't just a star. He shifted culture. Every kid and every NBA player wanted to be like him. The arm sleeves, the braids, the headbands, the tattoos, the attitude, all that came from AI. Players loved him and copied him. He made individuality and authenticity mainstreamed in the league. Rose became the emotional centerpiece of the 2010s, youngest MVP, Chicago hero, explosive play style that turned him into one of the most universally beloved root for him ever players in the NBA history. Crowds still erupt when he checked in, even when he played for the Cavs, the Grizzlies, Pistons, things like that later on in his career. His story hits people on a personal level. Injuries, unfortunately, cut his career short, and a sense of his impact, what he could have been, made a lot of people go what ifs on him. Objectively, neither had longevity or postseason resumes you see in a lot of top tier careers, but cultural and emotional impact absolutely surpasses their statistical careers. So after reading that, we can say that statistically, Derrick Rose is not on the same level as a Steph Curry or Magic Johnson, things like that.
Right.
We can all agree on that.
Yes.
But the impact Derrick Rose had on the city of Chicago and for Bulls fans is the reason why his numbers retired.
And he's not a normal player. Like when he was in that bubble that you talk about, he was an all-star. He was a guy who, you know, when he was on the court, he changed the what is it? The dynamic of the game, you know?
You had guys like Jeff T go on the podcast and say, like, of the guys, Russell Westbrook, Derrick Rose, or Allen Iverson, who was the hardest to guard? And he goes, Derrick Rose.
D Rose. I mean, and then look, don't forget that 50-point game he had in Minnesota.
Yeah,
you know?
but that's like that was like the last hurrah of him
for sure.
After the knee injury, and then the season following it, we didn't even play that year.
Yeah,
it was like that was the last glimpse of like how good Derrick Rose was.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So, I'll ask you because it does hurt a little bit, but let's talk about now if he deserves in the Hall of Fame, because if we look at the list of MVPs since then. And then like Kobe Bryant's the last one who's in the Hall of Fame right now, because you got like Dirk, Steve Nash, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, Allen Iverson, who are in. And then from there, you have LeBron James, who's still playing. So it goes Derrick Rose, LeBron James. We don't have to. That's not a discussion. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, yes. Curry, yes. Then you go from Westbrook, Harden, Giannis, Joker, Embiid, and Shea. Of that list, I think Derrick Rose is probably the last guy that will probably make that Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to say what? You're silent, man. Because you know the answer. You know the answer, and it's hurting you, dude. I had to bring it up because there's a.
You're right. You're right.
Because
though.
like
I said it. I said
if
it. I
you
don't.
get your jersey retired, you're in the list of like you're going to be like you're a Hall of Fame player, and then it's just like, is Derrick Rose a Hall of Fame player? Because like. Yes, everybody brings up the MVP. And then from that, it's like you look at the list of guys and you might say James Harden, but if you put up numbers from James Harden to Derrick Rose, James is absolutely.
Look, the Hall of Fame and a jersey retirement are two different things, man. You know what I mean? And
I'm a Thunder fan, and I have Nick Collison hanging in the Raptors.
Yeah.
Nobody wears number 4 in there. And it's because of the impact he made. And it's because like that's you got to look at context too. Like, Collison was the heartbeat of that team, and like he was there from the very beginning, and it's just a nod to him. And yes, Nick Collison's not a Hall of Famer, but yeah, man.
Yeah, no, and it's one of those things where I had to, you know, at first I'm like, let me stop myself, you know, because I understand that Hall of Fame should be the elite of the elite, and your resume should say much if you're a Hall of Fame, you know, candidate or a Hall of Famer, period. So he doesn't have that, I think, unfortunately, obviously due to his injuries, right? His career changed, especially after his first ACL injury, and you know, I always said it when I was covering the Bulls. I always said, man, Derrick Rose's body is not made for his talent, man. Like I just feel like the way he would stomp, the way he would move elusively, you know, it's like unhuman.
Yeah,
it was unhuman the way he moved, bro.
At the same time, it's just like I've seen guys like J.K. Dobbins, Adrian Peterson, Russell Westbrook have significant knee injuries that need to cut and do things like that, and it's like he could have come back healthier. Maybe it was just something with him that it couldn't. Like there is a mental game to this game, and maybe it wasn't there with Derrick Rose to get back at that level. But at the same time, like Chicago will still love him. It doesn't matter.
No, I mean, he's gonna be a Chicago legend forever, you know, and that number 1 is perfectly fine with me. No one can wear that jersey ever again.
Penny the Bull had to change his number. He was number 1.
Yeah, is he 99 now? Is what I saw?
99.
99. Yeah.
Speaking of the UC, last thing before we wrap up the show, Jonathan Taze, first time coming back to the UC in a Winnipeg Jets jersey. Yeah. Gross. I don't know if I said it on the show, but Jonathan Taze is my favorite Blackhawk of all time.
Okay.
Like he started everything for the Blackhawks during that run in 2010s. He was the catalyst. He was the captain. He was the youngest captain ever for the Blackhawks. I think at the time he was the youngest captain in the NHL. I know.
Would you say that because it's your generation? Because like people like
No,
Stan Nikitas of
my-
the world, Chelios of the world.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I know that a lot of people, and our buddy Mike could probably attest to this, that a lot of people love Patrick Kane because of his play style, the way he was able to connect with the fans and stuff like that. But Taves was the leader. He was the stronghold. He was the guy that kept everything going. His return to the UC definitely was awesome to see. He took about 5 skates around the ice, and like it took like 5 minutes for him to like wrap up his just like welcome him back and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Video tribute was awesome. It didn't have the same feel like when Patrick Kane came back, the type of game, because it was the Red Wings versus Blackhawks, which is obviously a huge rivalry. Jets and Blackhawks, not really the same. And then the game itself, because it was an overtime victory, Patrick Kane scored the game-winning goal for the Red Wings to win that game against the Hawks, and then the Hawks won 2-0 against the Jets in that one, which didn't hold the same thing, but it was still awesome to see. Those two guys deserve all the recognition, all the praise. If they want to retire their jersey, go ahead, retire their jersey. I don't know how jersey retirement works in hockey, if they do it or not, but if they want to retire those two jerseys, 19 and 88, nobody will have any complaints about.
Well,
that.
I'll tell you something, man. The moment was pretty big. The game was pretty big off of just a standing ovation for me. I watched that standing ovation. I'm like, holy cow, I got goosebumps.
I got goosebumps.
That's crazy.
I got tears in my eyes too.
Yeah,
it was awesome. And the fact that he came back to play hockey after dealing with everything that happened at home, everything he had to deal with off the ice and stuff like that. It was really good to see.
Taze, man, was one of a kind. I covered the Hawks in 2010.
Yep.
And part of that 2013 season as well. And I remember, the impact that they had, the way they came in. They were young. They were building from that 08, roster all the way up into that 2010 championship team. And dude, they were just different.
They were different.
They were different, bro.
I was talking with Brandon beforehand. I was like, did 2010, because I know the Bears won the MC title game, the Hawks won the Stanley Cup. Did the Hawks kind of have the same impact as the Bears? Because we all know the Bears are winning, nothing else matters in the city. But the Hawks won the Stanley Cup that year. So.
Yeah, no, the vibes were immaculate for sure. I mean, I was at the downtown celebration in 2010 as well. It was, it was crazy. I think the city had their first. It was the first time that the city got together in a long time, besides the 06 Bears, for some championship type feel. You know what I mean? But because in 05, of course, it had been a 3-4 year span. And so we got the Hawks came on the scene. It was, holy cow, this is a dominant team, right?
Could you imagine now? Like if somebody wins the championship now, it's like the Hawks were the last team to do it in 2015.
Yeah.
And I know people come at me, Chicago Sky won in 21.
Yeah, just got
It's okay. Let's be real. That didn't have the same impact on the city.
No.
It's like the Hawks win the Stanley Cup, or the White Sox win the World Series, or even the Cubs win the World Series, or the Bears winning in 85. But it's just like, the city is starving for a championship. So yeah,
we'll see. We'll see soon. Somebody's gonna win one soon.
Somebody.
I don't know who. I hope it's one of these guys.
I hope it's this guy right here. Right here, right above my head. That beautiful baby cub right there. Oh, it's so beautiful. That wraps things up on Divided Podcast, episode 3 on 2026, season 3. For Tilo, for Brandon, I'm Grant Leader. Signing off. Thank you so much, and have a blessed one.
Follow us, guys.
Follow us.
You know where to find us.